I am now with Etsy. For sure I'm with Deutsche Telekom for a while now. And now the chair of an Etsy ISG, talking about zero touch and network service management automation. I have a short question here. Who was here last year in 2017? Who was? Okay, that's good, because I'd like to make a reference to my last presentation. But before I come into that I will repeat why we are doing that. And I think all of that is more or less clear for the time being, because we discussed about that for a while. All of that are not completely new. If you're talking about automation, I think we talked about that already as we introduced 2G, 3G, and 4G. But the need for automation is much, much higher in these days than the old days. Because in the old days, we was able to manage our classical OLS stuff with nice ideas and nice solution. But all of this, what you see on the slide, is now more crucial than in the old days, as I said. So especially the last one, the new business models and value creation opportunities are much, much higher in these days. If you are looking about virtualization and SDM1, this kind of stuff, I think this gives us a lot of opportunities. But the crucial thing is, if you not automate all these kind of things, this life cycle, then by the end of the day, we will run in a nightmare concerning the management of our networks. And finally, we will miss the opportunities to create new business models and business opportunities for our industry. For DT, is that not a new thing? We're talking about this topic for a while now as well, and we have a clear strategy about that one. That was the reason why we started a project in 2017 with a couple of companies who were interested in the topic. And now I come to why I'm asking who attended the last meeting. And Arash Ashuria, our SVP, said in his keynote last time, we're talking in DT about brutal automation. That was a hard topic, but it clearly explained why we in DT think that is an important thing to solve. And you saw the keynote from Axel Klauberg, a colleague of mine. He mentioned also, he mentioned, hello, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, perfect. There is nothing about automation, there's something physical. And he talked about cloudification. Then this morning also Schmitter, a colleague of mine, explained what we're doing in the panel area. And all these kind of things, including this ISE, fits to the DT strategy to drive automation very quickly, and in order to not miss the opportunity to Windows opportunity to implement automation across our networks and find a slot or use a slot to create new business models. Well, having said that, as last time I presented an idea. It was nothing real, it was nothing agreed. And I said last time that we are looking for a host for our project. And finally, we went to Etsy, got the approval by Etsy board. And since January of 2018, we started with this ISG. The first meeting was in January of this year. I give you a brief overview where we are, how the ISG is structured. The first results are available. I am proud to say that we have the first workshop on Monday. We had about 70 people attended this workshop. It was great. If you recognize, that was a Monday morning at 9 o'clock. That is very, very good to have so many participants in the room. Okay, well, the target of that ISG is to deliver solutions for end-to-end automation for network and service management. We are not excluding the service layer, because that is important that we're talking now about end-to-end automation, not partially automation in a certain area, in a certain domain, in the RAN or in the core. I think that is the most problem that we have different solutions in each of these domains available, but they are not fit with each other. And talking about automation, that means really end-to-end automation from the service layer on. Okay, then the current status of the industry. Okay, then can you? Okay, much louder. Okay, than the traditional way. Okay, it is really essential that we move forward in order to leverage our synergies and that we are covering all of these domains especially for 5G, which we need to deliver slicing. Slicing is also one of the buzzwords we have in the industry, but finally we have to talk how we can manage the slice. It doesn't make sense to create a slice not knowing how we can manage the slice from end-to-end point of view. And that is one thing what we talk in this ISG as well. And we need definitely discussion how we converge the different technologies to one idea of management. For sure, we have a couple of projects in our industry, open source projects, OSM in ETSI, ONAP from the Linux Foundation, and in other organizations as well, like MEF. They're talking also about automation. And by the end of the day, I think we have to bring all these ideas together, and I come to that a little bit later. Okay, what is the status? As I said, we formed the ISG in December. We started with a couple of companies. The key objectives are agreed by the board of ETSI. The goal, you can see it as well, on the right side of the slide. Then we talk about industry convergence and interoperability as well, because one of the biggest obstacles to achieve automation is the topic of interoperability. And I think that we have to find a solution for that as well. Okay, these are a slide which gives you an indication or an idea how many members we have for the time being. We are started with 14, now we are 58 members, 17 operators are contributing to this ISG. You see we have a couple of companies from all areas of the industry, from the IT arena and also from the telco arena. And that is a good mixture of different companies, because I have to say I am not coming from the classical way of standardization. My background is more or less operations. And it's a hard learning if you are joining standardization activities. We need that for sure. But they have a different language, how they coming to standards, which was definitely needed. But now we have also some IT companies with a complete different background. And that is a good mixture. But why I'm saying that, I think we have different language. At first, the hard thing was to get it started was to find a common language about what we are talking and how we like to achieve that. And then they have to come to an agreement on how we approach to achieve that. But I'm really happy to say that we are in a stable situation now. A lot of contributions, we are moving fast, and based on this contribution that we got from the different companies. Okay, that is a bit of the work status. Going into the detail a little bit later, we have 7 work items on our agenda. We're talking about requirements and business scenarios. This will drive the reference architecture. Then we're talking about end-to-end management orchestration for network slicing as a use case, a concrete use case based from 5G. Then we have a CSM landscape and report. That means what is already there on the market, how many people are working on that, and how many SDOs or open source projects have that in the scope. Because we like to consider what is already there. It's not the idea to deliver a new architecture with new standards on the interfaces. It's more the idea to see what is there, use it, and if something is missing, then we can talk about how we can deliver the standard. Is it done as a group, or another SDO or another open source project can deliver the standard? Then we are talking about means of automation. There's also a report to check what kind of possibilities we already know to drive automation. And then a very important thing I like to highlight here is a proof of concept. Normally, if you're looking backwards in the standardization organization, then we are writing standards. It will take a while. Maybe after a year or two, then we go for implementation. That is a different approach here. We like to learn fast, and that is the reason why we started right from the beginning with the idea of a POC. So first POC are already presented. Now we work on a second one, and I like to highlight as well, you must be not a member of an ETSI or not a member of this ISG. You can contribute a POC to the community, and we can do it jointly. That is very important to know, because sometimes we got the feedback, you are only focused on your own stuff, we are not able to contribute, but you can contribute in this area based on a proposal from a POC. Then the last one is about terminology. It's also important to know, to define what we are talking about and what's behind these single words. Okay, that's one of these outcomes which we all had. By the way, you can see all of that on the ETSI portal. It is open. For sure, please recognize and consider that it's a draft version. It's not a 100% specification, but it gives you a clear indication where we're working on and what is the status of the activity. You see here that was CSM 001 work item. We talk about requirements which are driving the reference architecture and the end-to-end management of orchestration for slicing. That is the structure of the work item. Then concerning the architecture 002, it is more a framework than an architecture. I took some slides from our workshop on Monday. Uwe Rauschenbach, he is the rapporteur of this work item, delivered this slide and explained on Monday in detail what does it mean if you're talking about an architecture. Because we are not talking about another architecture, because we have a lot of architectures in the industry, and we should streamline ourselves a little bit. That's the basis for this architecture. What is about model-driven, open intent-based interface? We are talking about that. Then separation of management concerns. Shared data, we're talking about a data concept for that. And for sure, a closed loop automation is also something as a basis for the framework of the architecture. The important to know is also deployments should be flexible and open for evolution. I think one of the obstacles we have for the time being that we are not flexible enough if you are creating new services or this kind of things. Okay, that is more or less the architecture which we are discussing for the time being. It is also, you can form more details on the website. I put also a couple of slides, because it would be too many slides to explain what we are doing, what the status is, because the document is huge. And I really have to say that we are more or less 6 months on the road with this activity, and I think I'm really happy to say that we are moving forward fast with our ideas, and all the companies which are part of this ISG are contributing a lot. What is new in this idea is about this integration fabric. For sure, we are defining now what does it mean, what is an integration fabric. We have the next face-to-face meeting in 2 weeks from today in Kansas City. Sprint hosts us, and then we will work on this topic more in detail. What does it mean? What is a domain integration fabric? What does it mean in reality? We are discussing also specifying these bubbles between the different boxes. It's not the idea to specify what is in these boxes. The idea is to specify the different interfaces between the boxes in terms of service delivery. And that gives us more flexibility concerning the achievement of automation. Okay, concerning the time, I think, you can read that also in detail. Management domain, what does it mean? And an end-to-end service management domain. That is more or less a specification or an idea for a definition for these kinds of things. Okay, then proof of concepts, I already mentioned it. As I said, you are invited to join us with a proof of concept, challenge the idea, because as I said, we like to learn very soon. Is the idea what we are having the right one, or something has to change based on a POC? Call it POC, call it implementation, I don't care. Important is that we have a real implementation and nothing what is on theory on a piece of paper, all this kind of stuff. Okay, the working principles, that's, I think it should be clear how we work, and the important is all deliverables will be openly published. That's a complete different approach. I'm also with ETSI NFV, the ISG ETSI NFV and ETSI. I'm the vice chair of the NOC there. And we took a couple of learnings from this ISG in our ISG. And now we are starting very soon with our documents, considering, as I said, that this is a draft version and not 100% specifications. Okay, what's next? We are working on the gap analysis. What is existing and what is missing in order to fill the gaps, maybe with other organizations. We have a couple of liaison statements with other SDOs. With MEF, for example, also we talk to the open source communities. With ONA, for example, and with OSM also, because OSM is an ETSI open source project. And so that is also what we are considering. But it gives you a clear indication that we not have a closed box approach. We are very open in order to learn from others and pushing our idea forward. Okay, then how we see us. As I said, we will deliver a new standard. We see us in the middle of a triangle. We see here the ESM. We have the industry requirements, which we are gathering. Then we have the open source and commercial implementation and the industry standards. For example, CGP SR5, we are talking with them. I said MEF, we are in contact with them, with a couple of others as well. And the industry requirements mainly coming from the GSMA, which are delivering requirements from the verticals, because we have to understand how the verticals like to operate their network. And that is something what we like to consider in our ISG as well. Okay, then additional information. You can all find out that on the ETSI webpage. There's a bunch of information there. I invite you to check that, to use it. And this is about the terms of reference. I have a technology page. A wiki is there. If questions, because we are getting in the beginning, I got in the beginning a couple of questions. Why you are creating a new ISG? Because you have so many bodies that are taking care about automation, but you can find a clear answer about that one. And the members you found there as well. And we have a white paper delivered by the operators, which describing the need from operator point of view concerning the need of automation. We have a similar structure as ISG NFE. This NOC is an advisory body. It's independent from the ISGs themselves. It gives indication what is needed from an operator point of view. It advises more or less the ISG in which direction we should move to be successful. Okay, then you can read that. Then I come more or less to the end of my presentation. We have 1 minute left. I think that is okay. Okay, here are the contact details. No, that's missing. Okay. You find me on the webpage. I forget to update that. Okay, that's as I said, we are on a good way to do a lot and to achieve a lot. I have to say we are farther than I expected in this point in time. But a bunch of things that has to do to be successful by the end of the day. We are not on the end of the journey. And we say we are on a good track. As I said, you are invited to join us. Come to ETSI, come to the ISG, and contribute that one. Sometimes I got some negative comments from outside. Then I have to say sometimes I have the impression these guys are sitting on the balcony of the Muppet Show and not contributing. Okay, Francis.
Thank you.